this is part 2 in a 2-part mini sort of series thing, if you call it that. And make sure to watch the first one to look at the exterior of the modern house. This video is looking at the interior. So I'll start off at this bottom layer, as you can see, in the nice lounge, which does lead out round the side. And as you can see, with this sculk sensor piston door, that I have made it so you can only have one door opening as you come out. It's sort of a less functional feature, more for show. And if you have particularly light footsteps, I've put if you're very light-footed, quite light, sculk sensor might not be able to pick you up, so I've put in a nice handy button here so that you can open it if you can't particularly do it. But we don't want to go outside, we're still looking around the lounge, and as you can see, we have a very nice little sofa here. Sadly I can't sit down on it in Minecraft, but we also have this nice table using stairs, which is a nice interior design feature, I think. And that stairs are very, very useful interior design items indeed. You can use them for sofas, you can use them for chairs, you can use them for tables, all sorts of things, and they're extremely useful in the interior design. Also, you may have noticed we have this rather suspicious looking door here next to our large flat screen TV, which I don't know if you noticed, is now displaying Angel Fire. Some of you may not have watched that film, but for those who have, there's a little joke for you. So inside this, door, shut up, stupid door. Okay, so we open this door into the layer. Shut up. So this layer. I'm trying to do a YouTube video. So we come into this rather nice, cozy little bathroom here. There is a number of tricks in this, and I'll go through them one by one. Firstly, we have a banner, which if we go into inventory, we can see it is a black Bordeaux, light grey Ben Sinister, and another black Bordeaux. Okay, it's quite a sort of that cartoony kind of mirror that we like to use. You can also, instead of the white background, you can also use the blue background, which is probably a more realistic use. It's all up to personal opinion, but I've used this white background to look a bit more modern, realistic, sort of fit in with the palette of this overall build. But if we look here, we have a nice little sink with using a tripwire hook. You've probably seen this before, but to those who hadn't, tripwire hook is a tap, which you'll see more than once in this house, and using these trapdoors to make it look a bit more porcelain-like, like the rest of the things in this build. And to make these, because iron trapdoors can't be opened by hand, they have to be used with redstone power sources to get these up. The most simple way is to just get that block underneath with the redstone torch, and it powers the block up, sending that trapdoor up as you place it. I haven't done it on this side because we have a very nice little flushable loo here, and we have the button that it's sort of flushes it. It's probably the most realistic you could get in Minecraft terminology, as long as our nice bath here. You can see, yet again, we've used a lot of stairs here, and using the waterlogging of the blocks feature to create a nice small little bath, rather than have to mess about with full blocks and have to make this bathroom huge. So as you can see here, you may have already noticed this, but we have a rather suspicious looking cushion here, and I'll go through a lot of these more complicated interior design features in a later video. Make sure to subscribe so you can see when that comes out, hopefully within the next 2 weeks or so, but we'll see when it comes around to it. So if we have used this pillow, and more observant of you would probably be able to figure out how this was made, but I'll leave that for the later video. And we also have this rather nice carpet going through in squares. The important thing to do with carpet in most builds, in fact, apart from when you're not meant to be using it as a carpet, is to make sure you don't just cover the whole thing on it. Because if you just cover the whole thing, like I'm doing here, it sort of loses that feel of being an actual carpet and more like just spam everywhere because it looks good. And you wouldn't see that in houses unless they've got to fit to the floor carpet. And that also doesn't look particularly good in Minecraft anyway. And you'll probably notice by now the general colour scheme. Cyan and magenta. Oogly boogly, you know? Yeah. Okay, so moving upstairs, we now have the floor 1, or as you Americans like to call it, the second floor. Because we English people call this the ground floor, but not the Americans. They like to do it differently, and that's fine. So, yes, we have, of course, since we're in the new 1.17 snapshot, I have to make use of the candle birthday cake, because now it is whoever's birthday cake this is, whoever should be sitting here. At the moment, it is me, but whoever wants to build this house, it can be your birthday whenever you want. Or maybe only on your birthday. There are some of these rules, you know. So we have a little flower here, fitting in with the colour scheme yet again, in a flower pot, using the stairs as the table. This is a more complicated chair than most you would probably see, and I've used this quite a lot during this house, and I'll go through that in one of my later videos. So what we have here is, it's a computer in Minecraft, which some of you may find hard to comprehend, and those who are not familiar with how to use armor stands and such like that, there's no mods needed to make this, but a bit of armor stand knowledge and a bit of redstone to make this, and I will go through that in one of my later videos, as I said. So if we've got the plant going out the window, putting plants in front of a window is quite common in just build or any time, because it offers a pleasant look from the inside and from the outside, as you can see. And we also have this rather nice balcony here. I've used this wool to stop the sculk sensors reaching you when you're in here, which is a downside of the sculk sensor, but you can still use it. So now as we're in the kitchen area, you can see we have a little furnace with a detector rail, which is used to be a cooker with the extractor fan going up above to the second floor, with a little chopping board here, a plant with the allium, which is the magenta version of flowers, and this rather clever looking toaster, which is more simple than you'd think. It's just using a dragon head facing backwards, and it can look like a toaster with two pieces of rather burnt bread coming out of them. As you can see, we also have the tripwire hook using as a tap in this little sink here, and as you've seen before, we have nice blindfold doors leading out to this lovely, I never ended up building a back garden, but you can imagine it. You have enough imagination to do that, with some nice hills around the background, waiting for the new mountain generation in 1.17. Very excited for that. It will make views like this a lot better. So moving on, as we go upstairs, halfway up the stairs, you will find the viewing room, which I briefly talked about before, but I mainly did make it, yes, to look at these lovely little landscape here. It's sort of a micro landscape rather than a big mountain range or anything, just a few little dramatic little hills which you can sit here and gaze out, maybe with a cup of coffee, which you can't really make in Minecraft except for a flower. So I've just put a flower pot there with a flower in it, because what's the point? We need flowers. It's a modern house. You need life, you know? So now, as we progress towards the last part of our room, the master bedroom, with some nice little beds here, fitting with the colour scheme yet again. It's a bit of a repeating theme in this household. We have a nice view back over to the front. You can see our modified birch tree there, with this method of creating a plant using a cauldron stacked on top with any kind of leaf. I've chosen to use birch leaves because it looks like not very messy, so kind of fitting in with this clean feeling of this household, as all of the plants are potted and everything. I'm not having that foliage like I showed you earlier. And yet again, we've got this little carpet snaking through, so not yet like before, not carpeting it everywhere. And if you look in this little wardrobe, you will see we have an open out set for the netherite armor already here, being in 1.16. Unlucky if you're on editions which haven't yet updated, but it is now the strongest material in Minecraft, if you don't know, which somehow maybe you wouldn't know, but there you go. You gotta keep your most precious armor in a very, very secure wardrobe. So moving on, we have the double bed, which is quite in contrast to the rest of the build, but it is similar to the rest of the furniture in the fact we use dark oak as a contrast to this white concrete, which is a bit garish if you were to use it to the furniture and stuff. And so we have these magenta beds as well as the cyan banners. Moving through to the bathroom, you can see we've also got the sofa here and nice painting. Moving to the bathroom now, we have, you've seen before, we have the mirror banner, which is used with a little desk. Because if you were to use this as a slab, you'd see the bottom half of the banner, and that doesn't really look so well. Yet again, we have the tap and sink. This toilet is elevated rather than being on the ground because I couldn't. The bottom floor's just there, so I can actually put it in the ground. And with a different kind of flush this time, but had to be more compact as there's not much room up here. So we have a little flush. And then click back up again. And so moving on, we have this ice window, which is simulation of sort of like tinted glass, with this end rod as the shower, with these nice little glass sliding doors. I don't think frames of glass used to attach to stairs, but that's what we got now, and I'm used to building without it. I've only just recently updated to these more later versions of Minecraft, so I'm just wondering if there's a way around this. Comment if you know. There's probably some people out there who have found a way. So there we go. That is the entire of the modern house. Remember, if you've got any more ideas for good videos or something like that, remember to pop them down in the comments. And hopefully, maybe I'll get the world download throughout this in the description if I remember. But that's all for this time, and see ya!